All right, all right. I think we are live. I think we are live on YouTube streaming. The Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen is here. I know we've been going for a while, but we're still the greatest think tank ever assembled. No debate. We're just gonna hop right into it. And this video is called "Train Choking: the Dangers of Public Transportation." And the reason that we're talking about this right now is because it's one of the most divisive topics that seem to be floating around social media this week. I'm not sure why. The shit that goes on these trains, the stuff that's happening in the world, this is honestly, this is one of the least surprising things that I saw in the past 7 days. There's a lot of crazy shit going on. But it is interesting that the person who was involved in all of this shit also happens to be so famous and so recognizable. Former street performer in New York subways and streets for a long time. But actually, I'll let the news lady, catch everybody up just in case they weren't plugged into who this guy is and what's been going on.
He was a talented Michael Jackson impersonator performing on the New York subway and in Times Square. Everybody, everybody. Now Jordan Neely's tragic death in a chokehold on the same subway where he once entertained passengers is causing an uproar.
Justice for Jordan Neely! Justice for!
Now, I have to say, with all the shit that goes on the New York subways, there's a lot of footage of homeless people, mentally ill people, putting in a lot of work on the subways. How do you get a pack of New Yorkers who have experienced this on the subway to protest about a person who got choked out, a person who's also allegedly yelling threats, threatening to kill people on the train? How do you get people who have undoubtedly experienced the fear and anxiety that comes from seeing a homeless person walk up on the train and start getting busy? How do you get them to protest over this?
There gotta be an incentive, somebody, somewhere.
It's confusing to me because I spent a lot of time on New York subways. I've seen my fair share of goofy shit. When I was young, I was a little bit, I was one of those super confident knuckleheads. So I can't say I've ever really felt subway fear. I've probably influenced some subway fear because I think the worst we've ever been, I'll admit to it, the worst I personally have ever been on a New York subway was when Old Dirty Bastards album came out. And this was still around the time where people we knew had big ass radios. And I remember sitting on a subway train with the Old Dirty Bastard tape playing and about 11 or 12 of us bugging all the way out. We wasn't touching anybody, we weren't threatening anybody. But if you were a middle-aged white person and you saw 12 black teenagers on your train car singing shame on a nigga who tried to run game on a nigga, it might be some anxiety. I could definitely see where that would feel a little bit uneasy. But that's the worst I've personally ever been on a train. This guy was putting in some work.
30-year-old Jordan Neely was not impersonating Michael Jackson when he boarded a subway train in Lower Manhattan. His life had apparently fallen apart. Witnesses say he was hostile and threw garbage at them. He reportedly screamed, "I don't have food, I don't have drink, I don't mind going to jail and getting life in prison. I'm ready to die."
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Is that a threat? I mean, I don't see a traditional threat in that quote.
He just wrote his eulogy. That's what I just seen.
That's kind of... I didn't want to say that. I mean, it's not a laughing matter. We're not laughing at the loss of life. We're laughing at the irony of the simulation.
It's clearly a cry for help. The man was at his wit's end. He was either mentally ill or was suffering a mental breakdown.
Right, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
It can be.
It definitely can be, especially in a
Where's
crowded
that
space.
power?
It's a crowded space, closed off. There's nowhere to go. Shit could get real, and it does. It just wouldn't be the only time something like this happened on a train.
Where are the cops?
A passenger shot this cell phone video as a 24-year-old former U.S. Marine puts Neely in a chokehold and keeps him there.
But we don't want to get too much.
The chokehold reportedly went on for 15 minutes.
Around 20 seconds, you lose consciousness, but then once you don't have prolonged oxygen supply to the brain, it's irreversibly damaged, and that's around 2 to 3 minutes.
Now, I'm going to say this also. A person who, if you hold a person in a chokehold for 15 minutes, I feel like you weren't putting full pressure on them because, you know, if you choke somebody, like she just said, 20 seconds, they go out. So what would be the point of holding them for another, you know, another 14 minutes if they're out and they're limp? Like, even if, but I mean, you could just let them go and kick him in the face. I mean, you're not going to lay there and hold him for 15 minutes if he's out.
Once he's knocked out, you should just let him go. That's the purpose of a chokehold.
Not unless you want to go to prison.
Yeah.
Right.
If you want to go to prison, yeah, you cuddle with him for 15 minutes. You hold him close.
Well, it makes me think he wasn't putting full pressure on him until he was struggling. Like, if you're just trying to restrain somebody, like to the next stop or wait till the cops come, you grab them, you control the body, right? You control the head and the body, and when they struggle too much, you tighten up. If they stop struggling, you loosen up, but you still restraining them. So every time the guy tries to take a breath and then starts fighting again, you yoke him a little bit more till he chills out. That's what it looks like. That's what it seems like was happening.
The unidentified former U.S. Marine from Long Island was questioned by police but released. Now there are calls for him to be charged in Neely's death and angry protests.
This is crazy.
Firebrand.
See, okay, so you have an ex-Marine, right? Which doesn't mean he's a nice guy. Doesn't mean he has character or integrity. It just means that he went through Marine training and put some work in for the government. It doesn't really say that he's not, you know, inherently, like there ain't something bad inside of him. But you measure that against a guy who's been arrested 50 times. I'm just saying. It seems like that could be, you could use that as a character reference in court, right? This guy's a Marine. That guy's been arrested 50 times. Is that fair to put those two up against each other as character references?
It's not fair, but
wait, it's so that's out of bounds. If you say something happened between these two people, that guy's a Marine. This guy's been arrested 50 times. One of those times was for kidnapping a child and dragging a 7-year-old down the street. One of those times was for randomly punching a 67-year-old woman who got a broken nose and a fractured skull. Is that not fair?
I don't think it's fair, but when I think about the moment, like what happened at that moment. If he's over there like throwing shit at people and threatening people, then at that moment, you know, things happen.
Yeah, and Marines are shell-shocked anyway. Right?
Yeah.
They can't control themselves. Once you turn it on, I'm surprised he didn't kill 7 more people on the train.
I've seen guys like that. Not when I say guys like that, I wouldn't say like Marines or well, sometimes it's military, but like just overexcited guys who are waiting to beat somebody up or choke somebody. Like I've been around people like that. And to me those guys are strange also. Like,
well, I'll say
there's
this.
always a way to deal with people, in my opinion.
Definitely. I'll say this though. If you're the hero type, right? Or let's even make it from heroes to even a bad guy, right? If you just want an opportunity to hurt somebody, if you go out in the world and you let another person create the situation for you to respond to, that's still not as bad as people who are actively just going out here and hurting people for no reason.
Yeah.
Even if you woke up in the morning and you say, you know what? I'm pissed. I want to choke somebody out today. If a guy gets on the train and says, I'm going to kill all of y'all, I don't give a fuck, I'm ready to die, that might be the best candidate to choke. Don't go choke a guy because he took too long in front of you at Starbucks. You know, don't choke a guy because he was in Publix and he had more than 10 items in his basket in the express line. But if a guy hops on the train and starts threatening people and throwing garbage, I'm not saying you should be looking for reasons to choke people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're going to choke somebody, and you wait for somebody to get loud and belligerent and be threatening and menacing in a closed off space, I'm just not mad. I'm
You
just
know
not
who I want
mad.
to hear from? I want to hear from the subway victims.
Mm.
Anyone that's ever had a dick pulled out and a violent masturbator in front of you on the subway, anyone who's ever been robbed or beat up, or if you're in Philly, grape aped right on a train in front of everybody. I wonder how what if those people would show up to protest.
Nope. Nope. Guarantee. I would almost guarantee anybody who's been assaulted on the train, anybody who's had any of those situations happen to them, they are whistling, looking in the opposite direction right now. They're not down there. The people who are down there probably are, just like you said, the guys looking for somebody to choke. Those are people who are looking for a reason to riot. They're right about anything. They'll get mad about whatever it is. Are we mad now? Okay, let's go. Let's go do it. I want to block some traffic. I want to stand on the train tracks. I want a reason to wear my little mask. I got bricks already in my pockets. I got them a week ago. I've been waiting to find a reason to throw this brick. All cops are bastards. Like, let's do it. Let's do it. I feel like they were already poised to be engaged in this kind of action. I don't know anybody. It's hard for me to believe that any of those people in that video were from New York. This is one of
I
those.
could agree with that.
You know what I'm
I could
saying?
agree with that.
This is one of those situations where I feel like they just flew everybody in from other states and was like, yo, y'all want to get busy? Let's go get busy. This guy's name is Jordan Neely. Just chant his name and let's go get it cracking. New York people, you can watch somebody. This is not the first time they've seen somebody get hurt on a train. This may be the first time, or one of the first times since like Bernard Getz, that they saw the supposed victim do the hurting. And not that Bernard Getz was a supposed victim. I don't think anybody was fucking with him. I think he was just like, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was just fed up in general, right? I don't remember.
I think he was fed up, but I think he had been fucked with. I don't know if he was getting fucked with at the time, but he definitely had been fucked with on the train before.
Wow, who does he look like? Is it me, or does he look like Dahmer, bro?
It might have a common ancestor or something. It could be a.
Holy shit. Hold on. Let
Look,
me get that
but
back.
just are we such good people that we're sad about everybody that loses their life? People we've never
Absolutely
even
not.
met. People, and there's so many more egregious circumstances in which someone has lost their life I wouldn't even just say the last 30 days, probably in the last 3 hours.
Right.
There's always horrible things happening to people. And I don't understand how we're just not all fatigued and over the fact that when there's a particular dynamic at play, when someone is harmed, that it's just going to be shoehorned in that it was rabid white supremacy. It was rabid white supremacy. This Marine hated Negroes and was just waiting. Sure. If it was a white homeless guy, his dick was out, he was ready to go. He was maybe a Elvis impersonator. And he didn't have his Elvis wig on that day, and he walked in and he said, "Look, I'm gonna fuck up everybody on this train. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die," and started hurling garbage at people. That same Marine, I'm sure, would have went up to him and be like, "Listen, clearly something's troubling you. Let's talk through it. Let's figure it out. Come on, hold my hand. Come on, take a seat. Take a seat.
You know what?
Come on.
Here's
Come
some
in
money.
for a hug.
Here's some money. You know what? Get yourself a hotel room for the night, brother. I love you.
Here's the keys to my house. You want to bang my wife? What do you need? Anything to help a fellow Aryan brother.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe, or maybe he would have been like, "Look, dude, you need to sit down, or I'm gonna fuck you up." I don't know. I don't know that it would have made a difference, but that's the story that we're being asked to believe, is that we're gonna be outraged. We have to protest. We have to end friendships. We have to define who's good and who's bad based on how we feel about this particular situation. Do you know that in this unfortunate incident where clearly a mentally ill person lost their life, did you know that they lost their life, at the hands of rabid, out of control, unbridled, unmitigated white supremacy.
Right.
Do you know that? Because if you don't know that, you're clearly not in the loop. And I don't know. I don't know how these stories just keep coming out and keep getting a reaction out of people, like from both sides. Like if you've been paying attention for more than, I'm gonna say, 60 seconds, if you just been paying attention for 60 seconds or less, I think you would just figure out like, oh yeah, this is just all we do now. This is just all we do now as a country, is we look for terrible things and then we figure out how the people we don't like are completely responsible for it.
And everybody's eating it up like free candy. Free candy. People have so little respect for human life. Everything just becomes a political football. Right? No matter what it is, no matter what the information is, people die and they're like, "Oh, well, all the violence that black people are doing, I'm surprised white people are standing up for themselves even more." It's like, wait, how do we get to that though? People love it. They just gobble it right up. I don't know. I don't completely fully know why, but it just seems to feel good. If you let some of these people tell it, I guess it's just what's coming. It's just what's happening. But it's just so skewed. If they were reporting everything right down the middle, white guy did this, black guy did that, I think it would be a little bit more difficult to paint that narrative. But when something happens on this side and you choose not to speak about it at all, but then when the thing happens that fits your narrative, you just blast it 10 times longer and 10 times louder, then it starts to look like a very insidious agenda. I don't know, but this I want to show this video here of this guy, and the video title says it: Joey Boots trolls Michael Jackson impersonator. That's what this guy does. He trolls. He makes videos and he follows people around with cameras and he talks. People get pissed all the time. So it's not like this is the only person who got pissed, but it's just amazing that this video exists under the current circumstances. So I'm gonna skip through it a little bit because Joey's hilarious and he's trolling for a while. But look where it goes.
You like to moonwalk? Show us some moonwalking.
So he asked the Michael Jackson impersonator to moonwalk for him, and he looks like he's considering it, but he's also getting pissed a little bit. He's like, "I know I'm just like Michael Jackson, but I kind of don't like this." There it is.
Very frustrated man, I
What does
see.
Michael Jackson think when he sees a little boy at McDonald's? Thinks of a Happy Meal. He's like, Happy Meal.
That's not my era.
Why did Michael Jackson run into the Kmart? Because they had a sign outside that said boys' pants half off.
Fucking terrible, bro.
I guess you've heard them all, huh?
Hey, let me tell you something on camera. You got 10 seconds to get away from me, buddy.
What are you gonna do?
I'm telling you, you'll find out in 10
You gonna
seconds.
moonwalk all over me?
I'm not gonna moonwalk.
Okay, I'm gonna count for you, man.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And then he finally gets pissed.
Man, I'm telling you that.
See you later, Michael.
And then with a situation like that, though, well, he wasn't dressed up as Michael, so I guess that can't be.
No, he's dressed up as Michael right now.
No, he's
I mean,
doing
in the
his thing.
train.
Oh yeah, on the train, yeah. And he says you got a gay ass rainbow on your shirt too. I don't think people heard this part of the video because they would have like posthumously canceled him.
I'm a Heavy D lookalike. Heavy D in the house.
See you, Michael.
And then he starts getting it cracking.
Crazy.
What, nigga?
What are you gonna do?
I'ma
What are you
smack
gonna
that
do?
fucking
What are you
camera out
gonna
your head,
do?
nigga. What,
What are you
nigga?
gonna do?
Fuck
I'll
outta
call a
here,
cop.
nigga.
I'll call a
You gonna
cop.
punch me, nigga?
I'll
Do
call a
something.
cop. You gonna do something?
Fucking,
Whoa,
fuck,
swinging,
nigga. What,
huh?
nigga?
Swinging,
Go
man,
ahead,
huh?
call the cop, nigga.
I'll call the cop. I will. I will. You ain't gonna do nothing. I just stepped on your jacket. I just stepped on your jacket, Michael. Michael, I just stepped on your jacket.
So to be fair,
Send the meteorite. Just call down the meteorite.
Joey deserves to be
Do it.
choked out on that scene.
so this is a long time ago for one. For two, Joey Boots is a troll. He's an absolute troll. This is what he does. He follows people around. He tries to get a reaction from them. But in his favor, in his defense, everything that he's doing is legal, right? This is the regular. This was like First Amendment audits before there were First Amendment audits. He's just out here with a camera. You can't, there's no expectation of privacy in public. If somebody points a camera at you and starts talking crazy, there's not a whole lot you can do without escalating the situation and creating like better video footage for him. The best thing you can do is just leave the guy alone. Just ignore him until he walks away. He's wasting his footage. So this is the same guy, just for contrast. I don't want to draw no major conclusions, but this is the same guy. He found Tucker Carlson fishing, and the same dude rolled up on him technically with the same energy, pretty close talking to him with the camera in his face. And this is Tucker Carlson, Tucker Carlson has been referred to as a monster. He's been referred to as a terrible person. He's one of the worst things that's ever happened to media. Like, there's a lot that people say about him. They just celebrated when he got fired, and this is him dealing with the same troll.
Yeah.
You can?
You can?
Yeah.
What are you fishing for?
Are you videotaping me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you're in public, I can.
Well, I know you can.
Okay.
I'm not challenging your right. I just want to know why you
I find it interesting that you're fishing in Central Park.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely allowed.
And what do you use for bait?
I fly fish, so I use flies. I'll show you.
Oh, those are the things you make.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, the string. I'm stupid. I don't fly fish.
That's all right. Most people don't.
Oh, okay.
See, and you tie them.
You tie your own flies?
I do, yeah.
You do? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in California.
Yeah, you did a lot of fly fishing out there?
Not really.
No?
But I learned in later life, and it's a great pleasure and a great sport.
It's like relaxing, right?
Very. And,
you live in New York now?
No. Well, I do live here part-time, actually.
Okay.
What do you do with the video?
I put it up on my channel. I have a lot of people that follow me.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's great.
I have about 15,000 people that follow me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so neat.
Tucker Carlson makes me believe that rich people are just better than us. he makes, if there's an argument that they just deserve to be treated better and they deserve to have more money, Tucker Carlson's that guy.
They're just happier. They're just happier. It should be a lot harder to get a rich person to call you the N-word and try to punch you in the face. It should be a lot more difficult to get a rich person to do that than a poor person. Unless that rich person happens to be a black athlete or something like that, because he'll fuck you up at the drop of a dime.
I was just about to say that.
He'll kick your ass for that. Like, they'll get it cracking. I don't understand. It seems like, for the most part...
Well, they're not doing riches right.
Yeah, they're definitely not doing rich right. There's something missing from being wealthy and the black experience of being wealthy, because they still got fucking hair triggers. They got really short fuses. And I know what this sounds like. I know Tariq Nasheed would disbar me from getting reparations if he heard me talking like this. He would definitely take away my black card. But luckily, I've already shredded it and burned it. I took abandoned blackness is dead at all costs. Abandoned ship. It's a sinking ship. You don't want to be polishing brass on the Titanic. Just completely get away from it. And that's my personal opinion. They can do what they want to do, but my suggestion is to abandon it, hop off immediately. But yeah, AOC's talking about it too. She's mad.
And New York Congresswoman AOC posted, Jordan Neely was murdered, but because Jordan was houseless, the murderer gets protected. Mayor Eric Adams is calling her post irresponsible.
Let the investigation take its course.
John Miller, CNN's chief law enforcement.
He looked like he got
I'm
a phone
not a fan
call.
of AOC either. I feel like she says a lot of things and it's not a cohesive.
Nah, she's a little crazy, right? Ain't she like a little nutty? Allegedly. I mean, that's what I've been hearing. And she ain't
we
got
gotta
it
fix
all.
climate change. Let's do. That's just how I feel like she answers everything.
She's not bright. She's not sincere. She did a phony photo shoot by the border where she was pretending to be crying for the kids, and somebody did a wide shot to show that she was just crying in front of an empty fence, but just looking sad so she could get that photo op. Like, I really care about these kids in cages. So she's a politician. I mean, I don't think she's particularly or extraordinarily bad. She's politician bad. Doesn't believe anything, will say anything. And I guess, I mean, I don't know. There was that dude who thought if you put more troops on an island, it would capsize. So I don't think it's a prerequisite to be that smart. So, yeah, she's a politician.
Can you capsize an island with weight? Can you do that?
There was a dude who thought so. I mean, I thought there was some sort of attachment, right? To the base of the Earth. I don't know.
Yeah,
don't
it's just
know.
like a floating disc in the water, and if too many people stand on one side of it, it'll just topple right over, huh? Is that what's
Yeah,
happening?
maybe. I thought it was just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how any of it works. I'm not even gonna pretend to be smart. Uh, if I was, if I didn't believe anything I said, I would be smart enough to get into Congress. So
Damn.
are fucking over. Over and done. The days of murdering us and getting away with it are fucking over. Over and done. If we have to strap up
I love
and
the
come out
hype
and just
man. I love the hype man. He looked like he
yeah,
don't even
Flavor
know
Flav's
why he
doing his
there.
thing.
He don't even know
Yeah,
why he there. He just like, do I get a chance to yell? Then I'm in.
he might.
days
Where
of
are these
murdering
guys
us
when
and
New
getting
York?
away
When you're in New York in the subway and you see all these homeless people, where are these people at?
No, they're chilling. They're smoking weed.
with it are fucking over. Over and done. If we have to strap up and come out and just start popping, it's gonna happen.
If we got to strap up and come out here and just start popping, it's gonna happen because that's how we solve problems. We'll just come out here and
That's
start
exactly
shooting.
how we solve problems.
Yeah, we'll just come out here and start shooting.
We're tired of it. Let's go. That's it. We're black people under attack. You try to encroach upon any one of us, we laying you the fuck down. They didn't learn after George Floyd. They didn't
Shout out to the
fucking
hype
learn. My body count is established. Look it up.
I love
Criminal court, murder, 42nd Street, 1984. Look
Is this
it
a
up.
BLM protest?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is a great.
I'm
this
a
is a great
convicted
thing.
murderer, bro.
Where does the Black Lives Matter? This man said I have a body count.
I'm a convicted murderer, bruh. Look it up.
You're the reason BLM exists.
Look it up. Murder, 42nd Street. That's all the information you need. Just
Oh
Google
my
murder and 42nd Street, 1984. That's me.
Street,
This is the guy that's been waiting to
1984.
protest. This is just his
Look
reason
it
to
up.
protest. This
That's
is
me.
ridiculous.
35 years. We ain't taking this shit no fucking more.
Who did you kill though? Who did you murder?
Another
It
black
was,
man.
it was a
Another
67
black man.
It was a 67-year-old white woman. I guarantee it.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as it was a 67-year-old white woman, then I'll let
He's
you get a
principled.
pass.
You don't
Right.
go out there and protest
Right.
on behalf of blackness, and you've got dead black people in the wake of your existence.
Nah, yeah, you would.
There's
no,
you
yeah.
couldn't stand there on your own 2 feet with a hype man
Nah,
if you had that little of integrity.
he would never. He would never. I'm sure it was an old white woman that he killed, and that would bring it all together. That would make it make perfect sense.
That would make it full circle.
Yeah, this shit's bad, bro. This shit's bad. The media is not being honest. Everybody seems to have a weird connection to how the story gets told. Some people are just like, black people are trying to start a war with us because they keep fucking us up. There is a lot of black on white crime videos on Twitter. I'll give them that. For the people who want to paint that narrative, you can find a lot more videos of black people randomly fucking up white people than you can vice versa. There weren't a lot of cameras around when Leopold was chopping people's hands off. Like when you want to get into a lot of white aggression, you're going to have to start bringing out black and white photos. And that kind of breaks your argument a little bit. If you're like, but what about what white people do to us? Show me. And it's a black and white picture. And it's like, oh, buddy.
It's just a cave etching. Look what they did to us.
Look what they did to us. And then the white guy's going to pull out video from 48 hours ago of a white girl getting her head kicked in by a black dude in high school. Like, it's bad. It's bad. And I don't know. Again,
That's progression, right? That's got to be progression at this point.
Well,
right?
If you ask Tariq Nasheed, it's progression. We've come a long way. We've come from getting lynched to kicking white girls' heads in and not getting in any trouble for it. So that's progress. All we need now is reparations so we can kick their heads in with more expensive shoes on. Every white person should be getting their head kicked in by a Negro wearing red bottoms. And then we'll know that we've made a come up in this country. But until then, it's still oppression. It's all white supremacy. And I don't know, dude. And like I said, my bigotry, my deep-seated bigotry still tells me, just for a split second, I don't totally accept it, but conceptually, for a split second, I'm like, I don't know what to say about any of this. And the truth is, I don't have to fucking say anything because I'm not in the streets beating up white people. It's not about me. It's not my actions speak for themselves. I don't engage in these activities, and I don't keep any friends who engage in these activities. So this shit ain't got nothing to do with me. And I get it. I get it. I know if you got a black friend, you want to look at him and be like, buddy, why why are all these Tyrones beating the shit out of all these people? I saw a video the other day on Twitter where a white girl who was, she looked like a little bit of a coal burner. I don't want to be insensitive here, but this wasn't a regular white woman because she pulled up to a gas station. It was like 10 Negroes standing outside the gas station, and she parked her car and just got out of the car and was like, no, you make a U-turn, sweetie. What are you doing? This is not where they don't have what you need right now. She got out of the car. They tried to carjack her, tried to steal her keys from her. Mind you, she's pregnant. I think she's 7 months pregnant. And then they shoot her. They shoot her to get the fucking car keys. And then
you gotta show me this video.
Then she says, she's like, oh, I gotta, she said they couldn't get away in the car because it was one of those cars where you gotta like jiggle a key in the ignition, and they couldn't figure out how to do it. And, in her defense, it seems like she lives in that neighborhood. She wasn't out of town. She didn't make a wrong turn. She's got a car where you got to jiggle a key in the ignition. She was, that's her neighborhood. But they shot her, and the news is just like, yeah, well, shit happens. Let me see. Let's see how many hits we can get for pregnant woman shot at gas station.
Oh, my gosh.
But, yeah, like I said, this shit doesn't really have anything to do with me. Okay, is this, let's see here.
New details about that deadly shooting at the Quick Track convenience store on Highway 80 yesterday. The tragedy took the life of a woman and her unborn baby, and tonight police say
this is a different one because she survived.
You
see what I'm saying?
There's plenty of pregnant shootings.
God, this is
right,
terrible.
but you know what? There's not a narrative to make sure it's a cohesive, singular event that's ongoing. That's the problem.
Right.
Someone needs to figure out someone needs to pick a cause and figure out how to shoehorn this string of gas station violence as being indicative of why we need to be for or against something.
Yeah, listen. I don't know what's going on out here, but it does seem like there's a concerted effort to make sure we get all of the streams of every one of these events. It's like collated for us to look at and process, and it just makes you wonder what's really going on. What is the news and everybody? What is the narrative here? Because the people who have the ball right now are not the people who would benefit from this narrative. You wouldn't think. Biden and all of these people, AOC, all these people who are really big in politics and the media right now, it seems like they would want it to go the opposite way. They would want it to be like, oh no, black people aren't doing anything. It's just the white supremacists. But all of it's coming out. All of it's coming out. Tariq Nasheed is still trying to get, what is it like? Oh, the California reparations, right? They said they're going to give $1.2 million to every black person in California, but we
started at 250,000, and we can't afford that.
Speaking of Tariq
million.
Nasheed,
this is great.
Speaking of Tariq Nasheed, he is a resident of California. So will this reparation talk end once he gets it? Or does he really care enough?
What if that was what his whole career was based on? It was just a long game, and as soon as he gets it, his channel cuts out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's like, good luck, guys. It's like, wait, but everybody didn't get reparations. It was just California. Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks.
What else do you want? What do you want? I'm going to keep making movies? For what?
Appreciate you.
I did my job.
Yeah, he'll keep making movies. His whole editing team is Jewish. Everybody who helps him make the movie is Jewish. But he's making a movie about black oppression and how we shouldn't trust any white people. And imagine the people who are editing his videos.
It's like, this is what Mr.
This is what Mr. Tariq Nasheed
requested. So yeah,
right.
Let's go ahead and get it sequenced
Let's
out.
Get it going.
As long as we're getting paid, I don't give a shit.
Right.
Outside of a convenience store in Fayetteville. We now know that woman was pregnant and lost her unborn child.
25-year-old Brittany Rich says she had no idea the three men standing near the ice machine outside the Cumberland.
Bro, if my wife went to this gas station, I'd be pissed at her. I'd be like, what the fuck was you doing?
If you're not buying weed in this situation, there's no reason to park there.
Even if you're buying weed, why? Not without me.
See, they tricked you because it's not after 9. We all know it's no Negroes after 9. We all know that. That's like common knowledge. If you don't know no Negroes after 9, you're on a suicide mission right now. But these guys, it's clearly like broad daylight.
Food Mart were up to no good. That's her silver 2010 Dodge Avenger outside the store. Security camera video shows Rich leaving the store, and then the confrontation begins.
The guy said, give me that, and grab my keys. And that's when I thought he was playing, because he was...
You see what I'm saying?
Brittany Rich.
She's giving me coal burner vibes. And I mean, is it just me or y'all?
She's got a neck tattoo that says "Ride for my bleeps." I'm sure of it.
He was young. I was like, what? And then I went to reach after him, and he shot me.
Rich says she was shot several times. It all happened so fast.
He shot me the first time. Actually, I think I was shot like 2 or 3 times before I really realized that he had a gun. And I looked at him, and he had a gun in his hand. But I heard it, and I felt it, but I was in shock.
After being shot, you see her stumble around the car for protection, then go back inside the store for help.
And peep this, right? So one guy shoots a pregnant woman, takes her car keys and hops in the car, and 2 of these guys are smart enough to walk and out. They just left. But some people jumped in the car with them like, yeah, nice move, bro.
When I got in the store, I realized I was bleeding out, and I laid down, and everybody was standing around me. Nobody was really helping.
Meanwhile, the suspects couldn't get the car started. Rich says you have to know how to...
Yeah, I ain't gonna front because, you know, these are older black men here, so they know better than to go touch a white woman. They're like, no, look.
Who's bleeding out?
Yeah, she looks like she's in pain, but I don't want to put my DNA on her. I don't want no fingerprints on her. No, we can't do this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna chalk that up to racism. That's just being smart.
Yeah, look at their face.
I'm not mad at you.
Oh, no, this must be like
What is white woman
I ain't touching her.
Meanwhile, the suspects couldn't get the car started. Rich says you have to know how to jiggle the keys just right to make it work. So you see them jump from the vehicle and flee on foot. Rich was taken to the hospital where they told her she was shot twice in the elbow. She says she can't feel her arm. She was also shot in her thigh, her lower back, and stomach. She says she was 4 months pregnant and lost her unborn child.
I had stomach surgery. I got 13 staples in my stomach. They took the bullets out.
I didn't see the entirety of the video, but not one person running over to comfort that woman through all of that.
Stop
hating.
What
a horrendous situation.
Stop hating. You see how he took a shot? Not one person got. You don't understand. This is like that TV show when Anthony Anderson was he saw the little white girl in the elevator, and he just ignored her. He's like, I don't know if you need help or what, but I'm not going to be the guy to give it to you. I'm the same way. I have to say, I don't know that I would have behaved any differently in this situation than these 2 fellas right here. These look like these are working men. They got on day glow vests. They just came from work. They on their lunch break or something.
Charges, and they know if they touch that white woman, it's gonna be problems. Yeah, like none of those guys.
No good is gonna come of it. No good is gonna come of it. If you touch her,
someone called the police. That is the nicest thing someone did in that room.
They're gonna be like, was that one of your nephews out there? Like he shoots her and steals the car. You meet up with him later. Is that what happened?
Before I realized I was bleeding out.
Yeah,
I
don't know if I would have done anything different.
Everybody was
they looked and thought about it, really and it was just like, nah.
Meanwhile,
yeah, that shit don't make.
I'm pretty sure somebody said call the police, though. That definitely looks like a face of somebody called the police.
Listen, they didn't shoot her, so by contrast, they're gentlemen.
They are. That's neutrality, bro. Like, hey, listen, I'm not a doctor. What do you want me to do? That's why he said nobody went over there to comfort her. That's what he wanted. That nope, not doing it.
And he's full of shit. He ain't gonna go walk up to him. Look at it.
Yeah, he can. If he was in that store, he could totally walk over there. He could lift her head up.
They both would have got robbed.
He could lift her head up loving. Yeah, he might have already been shot.
two shot up people in that store if he was there.
Legit
those kids are horrible though, man. Oh my God, those kids are horrible.
Yeah, they go to Violence Island.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if you shoot a pregnant woman to steal a 2010 Dodge, yeah, you have to go to violent silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
maybe you go to level 8 and work your way up if you're, it's it's at least a Toyota Avalon, 2022 at least, right? It doesn't have to be anything luxurious. Then maybe it's a level 8, but just a 2010 Dodge Avenger. I'm gonna murder a woman and her unborn child to get it. I need that. All right, I don't know, but nobody's defending that.
No, nobody's defending
yeah.
it, but the silence. Nobody is as critical of that as they are with the Marine choking somebody out or whatever. They're just like, no, I ain't gonna say nothing about this. The Young Turks are not gonna cover that story.
Well, again, there's no white woman gas station narrative. And the good thing that I've learned is once you have a narrative, it doesn't even matter if the story fits it. You can always fit it so that you can keep repeating your narrative. So like, I don't even understand how I don't understand how the public is still engaged anymore at this point. Like we already know what's going to happen. If there's a murder and the races are different, it's going to get emphasized if it's one way. It's going to get downplayed if it's another way. It's how every story is going to go. And if it so happens that the assailant isn't white, as long as they represent a white institution, you can still kind of make it work.
Right.
Like, yeah, but it's internalized white supremacy. He was a police officer, so he has internalized white supremacy. So even though it was a black dude killing another black dude, you see, it was from internalized white supremacy. So technically, it was still at the hands of white people. Right. Like, okay, we know that's how every single one of these stories is going to be framed. Well, what is there even to be outraged about anymore? That's like, okay, like the Michael Jackson dude, right? If Joey Boots went up to him every day, if you still flipping him out, flipping out, I'm gonna fuck you up, Rogan, then it's kind of on you. Maybe the first 3 days you threaten it, maybe by day 4 or day 5, but I think we're at least a good 12 years of this kind of being the nonstop media narrative. I don't know. I think at this point we just like being angry and upset with each other.
Yeah. That seems to be what it is. I think people
you can't
on
even
both
blame
sides,
the news anymore.
No, yeah, people on both sides just love it. I said before, the hatred is so much more marketable because it gets people fired up. They feel good. They love the conflict and they feel alive in the middle of it. When you ask people to just relax and calm down and look at things with a wider perspective, they call you a what's the word? It's something centrist, like a toxic centrist or something like that. It says, legit, we can critique white supremacy and violent predatory behavior from folks at the same time. Oh, of course. But they're both using each other as a sounding board and as a reason that the other exists. Right? So it's like this infinite twirling, rolling down the hill, back up the hill wrestling match. The black people are only violent and predatory in this country because of white supremacy. And the white supremacy only exists to protect themselves from the black people who are violent and predatory. It's going back. Most of the people who are publicly engaged in these conversations, both of them are sandbagging. Neither one of them are being intellectually honest. And neither one of them really want to solve the problem. Of course, there's people who are probably properly aligned on this point. But most of them who are in the eye, the people who have the most to gain from this, don't seem to be doing too much to really solve any problems, because that takes away your views. It takes away the check you're going to get from YouTube. W.R. Winter said, "What a downer stream. Tell some jokes." Tell some jokes. This shit ain't funny, bro. Hold on. I want to see Anthony Anderson on the elevator with the white girl real quick.
And that's what truly makes America great.
This is me all day right here. setup, bro. It's a setup. Yeah, that's me. I can't lie. If I was in a public place and I saw a little white girl in the elevator, I'd react the same way. I wouldn't say a word. I would back away slowly. I ain't mad. I got a joke. I got a joke to tell. Let's look at Texas immigration right now. This is pretty funny. Massive invasion of illegal immigrants in El Paso, Texas. And I don't know why this is so funny to me, but like I said, they got more Mexicans than they bargained for. So there's something going on over there. Check this out. This is Texas right now. In Texas, they're just chilling. They're not trying to hide. They're not like, oh, I gotta go find a construction job to sneak on. They're like, nah, bro, we here. How do you fix that, bro? How do you fix this? What's going on? You know what it is?
I love how the Mexican president said like he has no issues going on in this country, and he sent them all here.
Bro, that's why he don't have no issues, bro. They have lost their fear and respect for white rage. They don't give a shit no more. They're not standing outside Home Depot waiting for a truck. They're just like, look, bro, we here. Give us some money. And Texans, Texans is deeply upset right now. They pissed off big time. But there's nothing you can do. What can you really do? You're going to ship them all back? No, they're here. They look like they said, this looks like California. They playing their own music. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful right there. It's one thing to be here illegally, but then you're going to start blasting Mexican music too? They don't give a shit. They dancing. That last guy was dancing, bro. Why your man got moves right here?
It's a future Michael Jackson impersonator.
Yeah, it is. Look at him. Look, he puts it.
Look,
watch
sunrise,
Get it,
sunset.
get it.
Here we go.
Yeah, so Texas has got an influx
And
of
that's
illegal
why
immigrants.
white supremacist Marines can just choke out Michael Jackson impersonators. We have a whole crop of people ready to fill those jobs. There's going to be a Mexican Michael Jackson impersonator in New York within the next 72 hours. I'm sure of it.
And then within the last 24 hours, right, the mass shooting, MS-13 gang member Mauricio Garcia is the guy who did the mass shooting. And Tariq Nasheed, oh, you know what? I'm going to let him, let's see. Where's Tariq?
He always has an enlightened and measured take.
For all those immigration people, MS-13 was created in
The
America.
Texas mall shooter was a card-carrying white supremacist. What did I tell you about those black shoes with white laces? Because that's what really says it. Black shoes with white laces tell you that he's a white supremacist.
And Converse?
Law enforcement investigating Texas mall shooter's possible link to white supremacy.
Is that how he sees the Bloods and the Crips?
Gunmen
They
in
love
Texas
trucks.
mall. Yeah, exactly. Shooting may have had neo-Nazi beliefs. So you telling me that Mauricio Garcia had neo-Nazi beliefs?
Absolutely. That's a German name if I ever heard one.
An MS-13 gang member is a card-carrying white supremacist? Because he has on black sneakers with white laces. He circled it. He circled the black sneakers with the white laces so you can know. That means you're a card-carrying white supremacist.
I believe it was Many Saxons 13, started in the 1300s. It's a white supremacy gang from a long time ago, throughout the millennia.
Bro.
Yeah.
And how do you get away with this shit? How do you, just as a person who's, well, he's hustling.
Donations.
You're right, yeah. He's hustling these black folks. They done gave him so much money right now. They can't stop riding with him because they done bought all his movies. They sent him a bunch of donations and gifts. They can't stop riding with him. You got to stay on the train right now. If you hop
And
off
nobody's
the train,
going to fact check him.
Oh, you can't because you might prove yourself wrong.
Well, you'll get blocked. But do you remember there was something similar like with Sean King when he was like this little black girl was murdered by a white supremacist in a red pickup truck. Everybody's like, oh shit, we got to get him. We got to get him. And then within like 48 hours, it was like, it was a black dude. It was gang violence.
Oh, never
Immediately. All of the concern to get vengeance for this tiny little girl. And that's what just makes me so sick of the internet. None of it's sincere. Yeah. It's not sincere. And what will drive you crazy is if you engage people as if they're sincere. Your heart aches for this stranger that died. You've been called to action because of it. You're that upset about it. Okay, I'm with you. Wow, I'm touched and I'm kind of inspired. I'm motivated. Maybe I should be more compassionate. And then the instant, oh wait, they weren't murdered by the right person. I don't care anymore. Completely don't care anymore. It's just such a like even the credit you get for virtue signaling, I guess. Like, can we just all just agree that that's worthless?
Absolutely,
it's worthless.
Did he reuse that video?
Oh yeah, this is one of the best parts right here. I'm glad I found this. Take note of the outcome when one of these suspected white supremacists try to creep up and pull one of those sneaky chokeholds on a brother when there are FBAs involved. And for the people who aren't deep into this rabbit hole, FBAs are foundational black Americans. So when you start passing out the reparations checks, you got to make sure no Haitians get them, no Jamaicans don't get them, no Africans get them. Foundational black Americans, meaning the descendants of slavery. Everybody, no other black people or brown people are getting them. They have subsectored themselves into a specific group of people who should get reparations. Everybody else, fuck you, deal with white supremacy however you can deal with it, but this is how we get our money. But his narrative here is that this guy in the black t-shirt is a Nazi, and these are two FBA...
With those Nazi arms.
Yeah, definitely got Nazi arms. These are two FBA foundational black American brothers who, one of them's at work at Waffle House, the other one has hopped the counter to beat his brother's ass, right? He hopped the counter to beat his own brother's ass, and the Nazi was trying to save the other black man from the other black man. So once he put the chokehold on him, right, then the black guy who was just getting attacked.
Hey, brother, we were just playing, brother.
Yeah, he
brother,
shifted his narrative. He's like, wait, don't choke my brother. But wasn't your brother just punching you in the face? Yes, but that is our squabble. We don't need a white man to intervene in our squabble. And I left a comment. I said, this proves that black people can only get along when white people try to stop them from hurting each other. That's what I get from this video. These two guys were just beating each other's ass, but then when the white guy came and tried to stop one of them, then they became fast friends. Now look, now he's punching the white guy, and he's trying to... how? What happened? And the white
other
guy
was holding him back.
Yeah,
Listen,
he was
brother,
just kicking your ass a second ago. Now he's hugging him and holding him back from fighting the white guy. I think the white guy has some internalized masochism because he's not trying to protect himself at all. I think he feels racist now because he tried to choke a black man. And so he's just letting this guy punch him in the face. He's not trying to fight back. He's not blocking. He's just standing there. He eventually gets knocked out. But yeah, well, I don't want to show too much of it. But he eventually gets knocked out because he wasn't protecting himself from the black. Look at how lovingly he's looking into his eyes right here. That guy was just whooping your ass, but you know, the Nazi tried to break it up, and now they're friends. So if you want to stop black people, if you want to make black people get along, find two black people who are trying to kill each other, and a white ally puts himself in between the two black people, and then they can both find camaraderie in their hatred of you. And that's the only way all of this violence is going to stop. I think, according to Tariq Nasheed.
He's never been wrong up until now.
No, he's never been wrong. As far as I know, he's never been wrong. He made a whole documentary about how slave masters love nothing more than to grape their black slaves and take them to the vineyard. And it was that's why it trickled down into so much of the psychology. But he didn't land on the criminality is latent homosexuality. For some reason, he didn't make that discovery. He was just talking.
It was a buck breaking.
Yeah, buck breaking. Yeah, this is what they did. What they loved. They wanted you to pick cotton, and they wanted to take you to the vineyard. That's our safe word for graping.
I want to see this movie. I want to see this reimagining of where there's just these super flamboyantly gay plantation owners, and that's all they do is they just whip the shit out of and bang the slaves and then walk around with like lemonade and ascots,
You should watch
and they're
Uncle Tom's
traipsing and
Cabin. Is that what it's
sauntering.
called?
What?
Yeah.
I think it's
Uncle
called Uncle
Tom's
Tom's
Cabin.
Cabin.
Yeah. I want to see
Wait,
the.
were all of the slave masters are gay?
They they have a moment of a scene like that.
2021 buck breaking. Let's check the trailer out. Let's see how much of the trailer we can.
Understand that buck breaking is a show of power. It's a show of dominance. So we can't talk about buck breaking without talking about power.
When we look at the domination of black people by the dominant
I'm
society,
sad that I
what
know
we
all
are
these people,
in
too.
essence seeing is that this society wants to ensure that we are not able to actually mete out that thing that makes humans exist, and that is creating families and procreating.
See, psychologically, when we're talking about the sexualizing of our people, primarily from the dominant society for the system of white supremacy, it had to be established in a very impinging way from the mental state.
This whole notion that masculinity is somehow toxic and detrimental to society.
I love how when you use the phrase toxic masculinity, everybody loses the concept of the word toxic. So if I were to say this water is toxic, would they then say, so you're telling me that I can't drink water no more? No, I said that this water right here is toxic. That apple is toxic. So apples are bad now? It just becomes this full all-encompassing term because nobody wants to deal with parsing things out into the pieces to see, well, let's examine it piece by piece. They just use it as this. It's amazing how quickly people lose word context when they don't want to have a conversation.
Toxic masculinity is such a weird one too, because you find a woman that you cry and talk to and tell your feelings about, she's gonna call you a bitch. It's so strange.
Yeah, that's patriarchy. Patriarchy taught her that you're a bitch if you cry.
I don't know, dude. I'm kind of stuck on making the most offensive slave movie in the history of the world. I think I want so they're not only going to be violent homosexual rapists, but they should be Jewish bankers too.
At
They
the
should
same
all
time.
be Jewish. I'm giving them all Jewish names. They're gonna be talking about their banking strategies and global domination as they threaten to grape ape their slaves later.
Oh, I know a movie had the gay dude, the French gay dude from New Orleans. I just can't think of the name.
It wasn't
Oh,
a
that
gay
was,
French Jewish Illuminati dude.
No, that was
No. There's
that
a
was
movie.
Goodbye Uncle Tom, not Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Oh.
No, there's
Dude.
another one though. There's another one where they use this. They made two movies and they use the same. They use the same actors and actresses,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like that's the father and that's the, you know what I mean? That's the son or whatever.
Oh, you
I
said
think
they're-
Go ahead.
Mandingo.
Yeah, Mandingo.
Yeah,
Mandingo,
one
yeah.
of
There
them
was a
was
gay
called
French dude.
Mandingo, and the other one I don't remember the name of the other one, but it's the same actor. It's the same actor. 70s movie.
Yaphet Kotto was in it. Let me
Yeah.
say that name.
So this is one of them right here, and the other one's like this weird name. I forget what the name is, but yeah, that's a wild ass movie, bro. That's a wild ass movie. But
Dude, I think I know how we can bring both of these sides together with this movie. So it'll be one part Nat Turner. So the heroes are the slaves that eventually rebel and kill all the slave masters. But we make the slave masters embody everything that the right hates. So they're gay Jewish bankers that are grooming children and buck breaking the slaves that are dominating and controlling the world. And they're bringing the slaves over and forcing them to breed because they're trying to replace white people by getting black people to outbreed them. You can incorporate all of the right-wing shit into those villains, and now they have a common villain. And now everybody's maybe the LGBT community would be offended, but you're having very polarized groups now rooting for the same heroes and against the same villains.
Gosh, that's
I love it.
diabolical.
I love it.
That is diabolical, bro. And it'll be directed by Nashik Tareed.
Nothing but an attempt to emasculate black male.
I wasn't ready for
It's
that.
clearly an agenda. If you have two eyes in your head and you're able to see, you can see that it's an agenda, and it's an agenda to decrease our population.
It's always been about destroying the black family. The family's the foundation of a people.
The heterosexual black male is last on the pecking order here in America. If you're just a heterosexual black man, how you gonna beat the case? Because when you show up to court, when you show up to the job interview, when you show up to wherever, you coming in here as a heterosexual black man, you have no power.
Corey Holcomb, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
But we're also talking about the first story was a dude that was arrested almost 50 times.
Right.
So you're just showing up to court, but you're not staying for that long.
How you gonna beat the case if you're just a heterosexual black
You don't
man?
need to beat the case.
Yeah.
They're going to convict you, and you'll be out in like 3 days.
Right. Worst case scenario, you got to do a bunch of years, and then you can still come out and brag about how you killed somebody in Manhattan in 1984.
You could lead a protest one day.
Right, you'll still lead a protest. Who cares?
Still got it.
When Mark Twain confessed that we white people ground the manhood out of the Negro. Why ground the manhood out of the Negro? Because it's black masculinity that most exposes the fraud of white masculinity.
We, as the progenitors of culture, the ones who are the fathers and mothers of civilizations, who taught all people, who people look.
I love it. We are the fathers and mothers of civilization. We taught all people. So where did the white beast get his brutality from? Oh, I don't know. He made that shit up in the cave somewhere.
He came down there from the Caucasus Mountains.
Yeah, it was too cold up there.
Bad down there. We all were kings and queens.
Because we was chilling. We was in a nation full of kings and queens. We was all naked eating mangoes. And then the white man just came out of nowhere and started hitting everybody in the head with sticks. I don't know what happened.
Look to for social cues, whether they want to realize it or not. I think they feel if they can get us to adapt to it, they can get everybody to adapt to it.
If anybody should have a problem with European males, it should be the European female. Because everything the European male has ever learned to do to us, he first practiced on his own woman.
We need And what does that say about the hatred of blackness? If the first victim of it was his natural counterpart. What is that? I don't know. That seems like it unravels the whole narrative there. But also, the person who said that was Kaba Kamene. And he's probably the most level-headed sound mind in this entire documentary. And that's why that thing right there unravels everything else that they're saying about the white gaze on blackness and how it's supposed to destroy and dominate and just, it's ridiculous. This is Tariq Nasheed's best work.
Resources in education, we need resources in labor, we need resources in politics, we need resources in medical, we need resources in so many things, but they ignore that and they put millions and even billions of dollars to tell us that you need to really embrace your LBGT side. So these people have an agenda. And
because I listen to all this and I evaluate all this, and it's like, man, Martin Luther King really did like change the fate. Like it could have went one or two ways, you know what I mean? And the integration just kind of like made this mess that we're all in right now.
What about a movie about a parallel world where Malcolm became the more popular one and had the most impact on what black people would do next? What does that world look like?
Only God knows on that one. But I know it created the Black Panther Party.
But yeah, because I remember, I know that one of the biggest things that a lot of people bring up is that Martin Luther King said he feared that he was integrating his people into a burning house. Like, maybe I shouldn't have brought all y'all in here. Because it did, that whole process did destroy, not completely destroy, but it put a big dent in how black people dealt with each other, because immediately they didn't have any incentive anymore to do business with each other. All their incentive went into being accepted at places that didn't want them.
They treat each other like shit.
Yeah, and I think that still exists right now today. I think a lot of black folks, for some reason, I've seen black celebrities. I think it was Oprah who said she went to a purse store, and the woman didn't think she could afford the purse, So she said she bought like every purse in the store. And I
And
was
the
like,
woman won.
how does that help? How, this is not even a race thing, right?
That sounds like I should do that all the time.
It's not even a
If I had
race thing.
selling business.
This is just a natural human way to win in conflict, right? Well, I don't think you can afford to buy this car. So you're going to go buy every car on the lot to prove them wrong? That's just stupid. That's just bottom line basic stupidity. Maybe that was a sales tactic. Maybe she knew how fucking petty
That had
and
to be a sales
backwards
tactic.
the black mind was. So when she comes in, don't treat her like an equal. Don't be nice to her. Tell her you don't think she can afford this shit, and then she'll buy like 10 more purses. Trust me.
You know,
I've seen
Billy, if you tell these Negroes they can't buy shit, they just buy more of it. That's definitely in the orientation
That's in the
video.
handbook. That's in the handbook. If you tell Negroes they can't afford it, they'll buy even more. Sam Jackson said the same thing about shopping in Europe somewhere, in France or whatever, that they didn't think he had any money, so he bought more shit. And I was just like, this is goofy, bro.
I just go home, bro. If you treat me bad or you make it look like I can't buy it, I just leave because I'm not gonna spend my money.
You're a bad celebrity.
yeah, that's why you
Oprah
suck
and
at
Sam
celebrity.
Jackson's solution was like, here's a bunch of money.
This will support your behavior even more.
Right, so he proved it right. My handbook is correct about the Negro.
And it's up to us to understand what the agenda is.
They don't talk a lot in the trailer.
That look like Dave Chappelle.
They don't talk a lot about what actual buck breaking is in the trailer. I think they might have had trouble getting it on Amazon if Amazon knew what it was actually about. As a new threat to black masculinity rises, Tariq K. Flex Nasheed joins forces in this documentary to uncover the hidden agenda behind it.
You gotta love this day and age, because about 10, 20 years ago, these same people will be on the street with a book in their hand.
You absolutely
yelling and
right.
screaming.
You're absolutely right. I'm gonna show them to you right now.
Internet's
Now
a
it's-
game changer.
And now it's all over everything.
Yeah. This is them right here. This is one guy, Jabari. Jabari, he's talking to Mfudishi in this one. That's actually good. I like Mfudishi. He's dope. But Jabari Osai, this is all they do. They have debates about what's better, Kemet or Islam or Christianity. Look at this guy. This is young Pharaoh. This is the guy who beats up all of his girlfriends and threatens everybody. It's unbelievable, bro. And this is Zion Lex. He's had like 5 fights in the conscious community in the middle of debates. It's like a rap battle. He just start punching people when he gets mad. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
He got a bandage on his head.
Yeah, he just got robbed in Atlanta. Houston. He got robbed in Houston.
Oh, that's the young Pharaoh guy. Yeah. I've seen the interview with him. He did seem a little off. I was like,
Yeah. He said he believes in the Yaqub story. He thinks white people were created in a lab, and as a punishment to black people. You know, that's the story. Is that and just in case any white folks who are listening, and you didn't know where you came from, I'm gonna put you on the game real quick. So white people were picking on the black people were picking on this scientist that had 2 brains. He had a real big head. His name was Yaqub, and he was a product of an interracial relationship. Even though all the aliens were black, there was 2 different types of black aliens, and they weren't supposed to mix, and they mixed anyway. And they had a baby with 2 brains, a big old head. So all the Negroes were like, look at this motherfucker with this big ass head. You goofy, you stupid. You shouldn't exist because your parents are different races or different, tribes. So what he did was he started to collect people from every tribe and mix them in a way that would produce lighter and lighter versions of the tribe members, right? So after 6,000 years, he lived a long time. I know people back then lived a long time. After 6,000 years of breeding, he came up with the first actual white man, right? And then he unleashed the white man upon all his black dejectors, all his black bullies. And then he just went, so I don't know if he got on the ship and left or what, but ever since then, the white man's been wreaking havoc on the planet. And all the other black aliens left, and they left us here without complete records, and we just have to deal with white people in general and their brutality and their flesh eating and their all the grape aping. They take everybody to the vineyard. This is what they do.
They're dunking. They're dunking. That's
yeah,
what
they
they do.
dunking. They dunking.
dunking.
White folk. You can't really be mad at them. When you let black folks play in the NBA, they start dunking. They start dribbling between their legs and behind the back, no look passes and shit. And it was confusing. And so the white man did the same thing on the world stage. He just learned how to play like a Harlem Globetrotter. Started dunking on everybody everywhere. There's nothing they could do. But so just in case, I just wanted to let y'all know where y'all came from. It's
The more you know.
The more you know. Yeah. So if you ever having problems with Negroes, if you're having problems with the world, with the government, with any of that, blame the two-brain scientist Yaqub. It's all his fault. Or technically, if you want to go back one step further, you can blame the black people who bully Yaqub.
The bullies. The bullies' faults.
He should have just been like the Christian God and just he should have genetically engineered some super bears to kill them all. That would have been a lot quicker and easier. But instead, he created a white man, and now we got Starbucks and war. Because it was
remarkable. Just the ability to persuade. To just everybody hates you because you're a hybrid with a giant head with two brains, and then somehow they all listen to you about who the fuck.
Yeah.
You get to organize all the fucking.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You two do that, and then you two do that, and then I'll take these guys that you made and I'll have them mix. And yeah, bro, it's all here. Oh, there's actual.
A lot of you know, right?
There's a lot of videos about it, but which is, to me, it's kind of funny. This is a long ass video. This is a 45-minute video.
The story must be told. It must be read by famous white celebrities.
We have to. Yeah, we need to get
together behind the back of King
Sir Roddenberry or somebody. We need to get
Patrick Stewart, Alan Rickman.
Yep.
Yeah.
The big head scientist. And this is it. This is the story.
And seek refuge here on Earth because their home planet had been destroyed by evil.
This ain't the right voice.
When these extraterrestrial humanoid beings arrived on Earth, they chose to take residence inside the center of the Earth because the Duat or Amentab, his brother Emo had fallen in love with a surface-dwelling human female, and he would sneak to the surface world to visit her, and would also pass himself off to the surface-dwelling humans as a psychic and a magician. And
with that big-ass head. What's wrong with your head, bro? I'm a psychic. Oh, okay, come on.
These acts.
No problem.
Emo was exiled to live on the
You
surface,
want us to do what?
20 miles
Sure.
outside of the present-day city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia.
And they present this as like, this is what happened. So this is how he did it right here. These two.
Yeah, where the child Yaqub was born to Yishaq and Princess Lucina. The child Yaqub, being part Chayuk and part Sinin, had an enormous head the size of 2 men, and he also had 2 brains. Knowing that they could not.
And also, just so anybody who's listening knows, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. This is not, some parody mythical legend that people tell, like when they talk about Hercules and the 13 trials. And most people know that that's not true. It's a story.
Black secret text we're giving you right now.
It's a story that they tell to give you a greater narrative about overcoming it. That's not what this is. There's a whole group of people who absolutely, unequivocally believe that this is the truth about what happened. This is true.
Not return to the inner earth because their affair had now produced a child. Yishaq and Princess Lucina decided to live and raise the baby Yaqub for 5 years in the home of Emo, 20 miles outside of the present-day city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia.
Right. Just give us the place, just so we know where the two-brain guy who was a product of 2 different. Like, I want to know where though.
Because I was skeptical. I thought you were full of shit, but once you started giving me latitude, longitude,
right,
I was like, you know what? This has the ring of truth to it.
Now it's undeniable. Once I tell you where it happened, then you're like, oh, it must be true because you named
Oh,
the
Saudi
place.
Arabia. That's a map with a real place.
Oh yeah, so it must be true.
Have really happened.
As king on his island, Yaqub set up birth control and Planned Parenthood laws which would contribute to his plan of negative eugenics and genocide to breed his albinoid tribe.
Bro, how though? Because when you got 2 brains.
Talk game.
People
got 2 brains.
Yeah,
oh man, so pimping was invented. Look at him with the necklace.
Yeah, he's
Nobody
the original
got the
pimp.
necklace but him.
He's the original
That's where the
pimp.
big hat comes from. Look at his hand. That's the backhand slap.
Shit.
Come on, man. Come on.
Is Yakub the original pimp? His head was so big, that's why he wore big ass hats, bro.
And today we wear giant hats when we beat our hoes to honor Yakub.
Yeah, I ain't gonna front that hand. That hand do look good for slapping. I ain't gonna lie. He got a strong chin. He got some jewelry. Yeah, this might be the original pimp, bro.
Dude, that's a great story for the origin of ostentatious hats. You got a giant, ridiculously ornate hat. Yep, you're honoring Yakub.
Yeah, you could just hotep when somebody talk about prostitution and pimping. You can be like, "Well, brother, you know what the original pimp came from, right?" You know what I'm saying?
How do you think he got all those people to breed the exact babies he wanted?
That's right. He was pimping hard.
He had a stable full of breeders.
See, and then the white man corrupted our pimping. Now we pimp with women and we don't have them procreate
to make white people.
You know what I'm saying? They took the original pimp was to make white babies. Now they just pimping for fun. This is how the white man corrupts everything.
Yakub made it a law that only the lighter complexion people could have children. People with darker complexions were put to death, and when children
Can we pause
were
that
born,
for 1 second?
nurses were.
I like how he's just a scientist and now he's the king. He made a law, just glosses over like, wait a minute, I thought he was just doing science shit. No. Now he's passing legislation. It glosses over that step. It's just, then he made a law that was like only the light-skinned people can breed.
Yeah, that's not a scientist's chin right there, bro. That's a straight up king pimp chin right there. You know what I'm saying? He's much more than a scientist.
Ordered to have the darker babies killed by pricking the brains with a sharp needle as soon as the child's head was out of the mother, but the lighter babies were allowed to live. Yakub's aim was to kill and destroy the Ebenoid nation. Yakub would have the dead bodies of the darker babies.
He said L. Ron Hubbard's Phaeton spirits are seething with jealousy. They absolutely are. They pissed off right now. They like, how dare this motherfucker take our alien birth control legacy?
Xenu never went to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
How did we never work in an actual location?
Xenu was too good to come down here and oversee all this sex. He ain't want nothing to do with it. But Yakub was down here in the trenches, making sure the dark babies didn't survive and the lighter ones did. He put in the real work.
And making sure to get that behind the butt, under the ball camera shot in.
You gotta have it.
He's the originator of that snake.
He also came up with that.
It's not a full production if you don't have that shot. I can't take you seriously if you don't have that shot.
Actually, if we don't get the shot of the asshole and the ball sack, you're probably not even going to get pregnant. I'm pretty sure this is what ensures the conception happens successfully.
Yeah, this is the linchpin of pregnancy right here. This is where it all
shot. The camera angle is pushing it right in. Yeah.
This is where it all comes together right here.
Babies fed to wild beasts, and if they could not find a wild beast to feed the bodies to, they would take the dead bodies of the babies to a cremator to be burned. This is the level of intense hatred.
I love how the cremation was secondary. First, we try to find a wild beast to eat the baby's body. But if we can't find a wild beast, then we'll just cremate
set them on fire.
Yeah, we'll cremate.
And I love how he just represents like all of the evil. Like, abortions. We were just putting nail guns right through the skulls of every baby that came out. We
every
didn't
dark
give a
baby.
Fuck.
Every dark baby.
Planned, and they even used Planned Parenthood. He
Yeah,
started
he
Planned Parenthood. Yeah.
It wasn't Margaret Sanger. It was Yakub.
It was Yakub. So he's pimping. He's nail gunning the dark babies, and then afterwards he's like, "Look, before Hitler even exists, I'm tossing bodies in the crematorium." Like he's every square inch of evil. What a great composite supervillain.
And you know what the Hoteps gathered from this story? The white man is evil. They told this whole story to end with, and this is why the white man is so evil.
All right, so this black dude was crushing the skulls of Ebionite babies,
right,
feeding them to beasts and throwing them in giant ovens. So what is our takeaway here?
White man
is evil. The white man's evil.
Wait, so why did he do all this? Because other black people were bullying him. Okay, so white man
So
bad.
black people
No, it makes sense.
traumatized another black dude.
Right.
The black dude that was really smart created something to get back at them, but he executed the plan on the backs of pimping and baby crematoriums.
So let me fix the math here. Carry the two. Yeah, white man bad. Yep. Yeah, I get it. I get it. It makes perfect sense.
Yaqub had in his heart. This process went on for years on Yaqub's Island as Yaqub trained his sons and grandsons to carry on his
And
work
he got
after
an
he died.
Epstein Island.
Yeah, he got his own island to do
He's
all
got
the
an
sexual
island,
experiments.
dude. He's the perfect supervillain.
Right. Yeah. The two-headed scientist, the two-brain scientist, bro.
Yaqub died at the age of 150 years old from a brain tumor.
Oh, nice.
As the father of tricknology, Yaqub taught his people a doctrine which would enable them to rule.
He's a father of tricknology.
Father of tricknology.
Right.
Oh, trick.
Yeah.
You have where does the term tricking come from? From tricknology.
We found the father of pimps. We found the father of pimping, bro.
1,000 years. Yaqub also taught his people that God is a spirit and a spook and not a man, and Yaqub was the founder of the doctrine that unalike attracts and like repels. After 200 years on Yaqub's Island, all of the darker babies...
So Yaqub was the founder of the doctrine that unalike attracts and like repels. So did Yaqub create magnets?
Magnetism.
That's just
he created it.
That's just a principle of magnetism. Well, that's not a. I don't know if you could call that a doctrine, though. Like, I don't know. And then after he died, for hundreds of years, they just kept the breeding program going. Nobody just said, you know what, now we can do whatever we want. They just kept doing it.
Now when them light skinned babies coming out.
Yeah, they wanted them Shamar Moores. Like, we need to make more Shamar Moores, bro.
Attracts and like repels. After 200 years on Yaqub's Island, all of the darker babies had been done away with, and all babies were born of a new tribe called the Rubenoid tribe.
The Rubenoid.
After another 200 years, all babies were born of...
Which is the color red, rubido, which is one of the principles in alchemy. I see where they're going.
An even newer tribe called the Citrinoid tribe.
Citrine.
And finally, after another 200 years, which makes 600 years total, all the babies born on Yaqub's Island were of Yaqub's desired albinoid tribe. It took 600 years to breed Yaqub's albinoid tribe, and every imagination of their heart and all of their actions were wicked continuously. The evilness of the albinoids not only affected themselves, but also affected the other peoples of the world. Yaqub's albinoids returned to the city where they were exiled from. Once back in the city, it took only 6 months for Yaqub's albinoids to cause chaos and war amongst the ebenoid people.
I mean, listen.
Where does all this knowledge come from?
From Dr.
Where
York.
was it digged at?
This is Dr. York. These are the pictures from his books. All of the people that they showed, all the aliens that they showed was pictures that Dr. York drew in his book. This is all directly from Malachi York. He didn't make it up himself, but this is where all of these elements are coming from. He was the one that popularized it in the hoods and passed this shit around. But I love how Yaqub himself is not the culprit. The culprit is his creation. But if he created the most evil being that he could possibly conceive of, and for some reason, Yaqub understood all I have to do to create a wholly evil and terrible being is to make them white. I don't have to teach him about savagery. I just got to make sure their skin is white, and that the rest is,
That's enough. The rest will fall into place.
The rest all fall into place. Like, I'm going to create the most evil being. Like, if you wanted to create the meanest and most evil being that you create, wouldn't you have to, like, abuse the animal and shit like that and just make it angry and mean as possible? No, just make it albino. That covers all the bases. As long as it's albino, it's going to create war and dissent everywhere it goes. It's going to destroy everything it touches. But if you create it, aren't you the worst thing ever? No, because I'm brown. They're white.
Set it and forget it. Just make the white people, and they'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, just send them out into the world. They'll go fuck everything up.
The king of the ebenoid people realized that it was Yaqub's albinoids who were causing all the trouble, and the king made a decree to drive Yaqub's evil albinoids.
Look at the king. Who's that, bro?
They figured it out right away. I don't know how he's the king, because Yaqub was making laws.
Yeah, that's
that
Dr.
only the
York.
light-skinned people could breed. So I don't know. Oh, it is Dr. York.
That's him. He the one that came out and sent the white people away.
It's from amongst them. The king rounded up all of Yaqub's albinoids and stripped them of their clothing, and put an apron on them to hide their nakedness, and sent his army with them across the
your nakedness is also hidden, though. Aren't you? Okay, never mind.
Desert to cross the burning sands into the place which is modern-day Europe. Yaqub's albinoids were roped into the mountains and caves, and the king's army would patrol the area to make sure Yaqub's albinoids stayed in the mountains and caves for 2,000 years to ensure that these people are kept away from the Ebenoid people.
What do you think they were doing while they were up there? Just increasing their ranks, huh? And all you did was patrol to keep them up there. You didn't do nothing else. That was it.
During this 2,000-year period living in the mountains and caves without anything to start civilization, Yaqub's albinoids became shameless, and lost all sense of shame and started going nude, and in the winter they wore animal skins for clothes and grew hair all over their bodies and faces like all the other wild animals. Yaqub's albinoids tamed the wolves and dogs to live in the caves with them, and after some time the dog held a high place among their family, becoming their best friend. After 2,000 years of living in the caves, the wickedness of Yaqub's albinoids was observed, and an Ebenoid man named Mo.
I would say you can't make this shit up, but somebody did, so.
Moshe led Yaqub's albinoids out of the caves. However, once out of the caves, Yaqub's albinoids killed Moshe. Free from the caves, Yaqub's albinoids went on a rampage throughout the earth, conquering and subjecting the Ebenoid people, pitting one against the other using the idea of divide and conquer. Yaqub's
using the idea of divide and I love this. Is amazing. There's so much wrong with this, but when you just keep talking, you just program it into the little AI voice there and just let it keep talking. It's like it just washes over you. There's so much wrong with this, but it's a great story though. I'll give them that. It's a great story.
Ebenoids began to execute Yaqub's plan for them to rule the world for 6,000 years. A man named Mahamdu attempted to teach Yaqub's albinoids to convince them to end their devilishment. However, this was still 1,400 years before the end of Yaqub's albinoids' 6,000-year period of dominion over the earth. And so, Yaqub's albinoids ruled the earth for 6,000 years, spreading their devilishment, evil, pain, suffering, and oppression to the Ebenoid people of the earth as designed by the big head scientist Yaqub. The events of Yaqub occurred approximately 6,600 years ago.
So also, did he breed them with a kill switch inside of it or something? Like, how did he know that they would rule the world for 6,000 years and not anymore? How did he figure that part out?
I don't know. You're a heretic.
I know. I shouldn't be asking these questions.
It's a heretical question.
This is where they show you all the magic.
The original Ebenoid tribe. Yashmal also observed that the gene of the Ebenoid woman was the most dominant gene, and so Yashmal established the following rules of arranged marriages amongst his followers.
Oh, this is him trying to breed the white people back out of
10,285 Ebenoid women and 10,285 Ebenoid men would marry to keep the Ebenoid gene strong and pure. 10,285 Ebenoid women would marry 10,285 Rubedoid men. 10,285 Ebenoid women would marry 10,285 Citrinoid men. 10,285 Ebenoid women would marry 10,285 albinoid men. 10,285 Ebenoid men would marry 10,285
So you mix them all back up
enjoy
and
life,
the white people
and observe the generations and progression of his followers.
Because that's the only way the world is going to go back to normal and be better, is if you breed out all the white people. And then everything will be fine. But I think breeding them out of existence is probably the nicest way you could go, right? Because that's not like Hitlerian or anything like that. It's just breeding. I just tell you who to bang, and you know what I mean. Everybody will be happy once everybody's brown again, and then war goes away. All conflict just disappears, and everybody's happy, right? As long as the world is more brown, there can't be any more conflict, right? Because conflict is inherently white.
That's my understanding. Yes, that's my understanding of it.
All right, so
making fun of people though, that's black.
Yeah, just stop bullying. That's the moral of the story. Don't bully black people, because if you do, they'll spend the next 600 years creating white people, and then they'll fuck the world for 6,000 years.
You want 6,600 years of oppression? Because this is how you get 6,600 years of oppression.
Calling me names, motherfucker. I'll show you. That's worse than the Bears. That's worse than Elisha and the Bears. At least when the kids called
That's
Elisha
just 42
bald.
dead kids.
Yeah, 42 kids ripped to shreds.
42 dead kids.
That's
but
not even that bad.
The world's not enslaved for 6,000 years.
Good Lord. Yaqub is worse than the Bible. Well, the Bible God, bro.
It's all Talmud. So
yeah, and Talmudic.
That's all it is. It's because there is kind of those themes in the Bible.
Yeah, with sheep or something like that, right?
With who?
Wasn't it Jacob and the sheep?
Yeah. He's like, if I get these sheep to fuck here, then they'll have spots, and I've already negotiated. I mean, he's really a piece of shit the whole story. He's just, you live with this guy, he's giving you both his daughters, and you're stealing his sheep. You're like, I'm gonna make the sheep fucking away so that he has to give me the sheep.
I'm just putting.
But yeah, but no, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm just putting in the chat now. White people know where they come from, so you're welcome.
But yeah, it's just let's explain our situation. Let's appeal to religious consciousness. There is themes in the Bible about being exiled from the garden, having to start relying on eating animals rather than vegetation. Ideas about going and conquering and growing through technology. Technology flies in the face of the curse. Oh, we're stuck on this planet. We're stuck with these limitations of flesh, so life is going to be hard. Now we're going to invent shit. We're going to invent shit to make life easier. So I could see that they're framing white people as these technological devils that are practicing eugenics by proxy.
Right.
Yakub was the first person who had internalized white supremacy. So he was a black dude, but he was basically a white supremacist.
I just want to know how he knew that white people would wreck the world for 6,000 years. Like if I just
he knew
breed,
himself. He knew himself.
So the only thing that was keeping him righteous was his melanin. And he knew if he could find a version of himself without the melanin, that it would fuck the world for 6,000 years. All I need is a lighter shade of human.
You know what? If I listen, I'm a scientist. I'm thinking very sciencey. If I get the right people to fuck in the right order, I could probably get the world enslaved for, I don't know, 6,000 years, you think? I think I see the train of logic there.
Yeah.
I get the right people to fuck eventually. I could probably get 5,000 to 6,000 years of oppression out of it.
Yeah, it'll take me about 600 years to pull it off. But as long as I can get these people to screw in the right, configurations, the lighter people get.
And convince them to continue to fuck long after I'm dead.
After I'm
going to die in about 100 years. For the next 500 years, I need you to fuck, and I need you to make sure your children fuck in this particular order, or the plan's going to die. This is important to you, right?
Yeah.
Let's make this happen.
Keep taking these dark babies off of here, because they're going to ruin it.
Keep putting nails in the head of these dark babies. Put a nail right through their skull. Feed them to animals. Put them in the crematorium, and get back to fucking the right way, into the right configuration.
Yeah. Okay,
Wonderful.
so you guys nail gun the dark babies and burn them, because in a few hundred years we'll have something really evil.
That's the promise. That's the cult is holding on to. Wait, so they're gonna fuck shit up for 6,000 years? Yeah. But they're getting back at my bullies. Yeah. All your bullies are dead.
Yeah, so what?
We're all gonna be fucked for 6,000 years.
I don't care. We need something evil on the planet.
You heard the man. Let's continue to fuck in this very particular way.
I think this plan you have is pretty evil. Oh, this plan ain't shit. Wait till you see these white folks.
Wait till you see these white folks.
You thought putting nails through the skulls of infants and feeding them to animals was bad?
Oh, you just wait.
Shit.
You just wait.
Give us some time. No. You understand. Wait. I was bullied. I was bullied. We have to do this.
Yeah, man. 6,000 years of torment for these motherfuckers. Why? Well, they called me Big Head.
Look, I'm going to set up the camera for the ball shot. Get this bitch pregnant. Let's keep moving the ball down court. Come on, guys.
Oh, man. Keep nail gunning these babies until we breed evil into the world.
Don't give up. Don't give up.
That's his last words from his deathbed. Don't give up. We will breed evil into the world. Damn.
Oh, Oh shit!
How do you get away with? Yo, if you put the reverse of this story, how black people were made, that shit would get taken off YouTube so fast. There's no way. You could not get away with it.
You can have this robot saying white people were only designed to enslave and make life miserable.
Yeah.
It's the only reason it's the only reason.
That's freedom of speech. You know?
Oh, it's great.
Said there was a white scientist who was angry at his bullies, so he decided to breed black evil into the world. He was like, up, terms of service. Get out of here. Nope. You can't do that. You can't do that.
He wanted to destroy all the Waffle Houses in America. So he wanted to make gas stations the most dangerous place in the world. So he just kept breeding. He just kept breeding them darker and darker. Flagged.
W.R. Winter says, never stop chasing your dreams. A quote from Yakub. Never stop chasing your dreams. Your dreams of evil reigning on the world for 6,000 years. Never stop. Never stop.
And people don't know that's actually where the configuration, because they were still making up language at this time. That's where the letter Y comes from. It recreates that under the ball shot that he would do to make sure all the women got pregnant. It's just enough opening with the leg coming down.
That's just science. That's the only way you can guarantee they get pregnant. That's just science.
You got to have the camera pointing right through, because what happens is it sends a radioactive signal into the ball sack since it's pointed right there, and it hypercharges it to ensure the potency of the sperm.
Keep them crematoriums hot while I'm gone.
He was a scientist. You know, he was a scientist and a pimp.
How do we get rid of these babies? I don't know. See if we can find a wild beast to eat them or something. You can't find no wild beast. All right, well, just burn them then.
Damn. That's cold as fuck. Just put a nail through their head and just have some wild beasts eat them. That's cold-blooded, Yakub.
What are we doing this for again? We need to find evil.
We're inventing evil because I was bullied. But how are you bullied if evil doesn't exist yet? I don't understand.
Get out. Leave. Leave my chambers immediately.
It sounds like Roger doesn't see the vision.
Don't you have dark babies to spike? Get the fuck
Let's
out of
all
here.
mock Roger. Yeah. Let's tell Roger why he's dumb.
Gosh, bro. This shit got 1 million views on YouTube, bro.
As it should. It's legendary.
Views. I guarantee you nothing in the reverse exists on YouTube.
Listen, we're gonna tell the story of Yakub as read by Patrick Stewart, as read by Christopher Walken, Matt Damon. We're gonna have famous white celebrities narrate the retelling of Yakub's legacy.
Now I'm also gonna say if somebody wants to gift us a subscription to the AI voice thing, we'll get it done still through there. I'm sure you can get Patrick Stewart's voice to read this. If we just get our subscription to the AI voice changer, we'll get all of this stuff typed up. We'll get all the best Bible stories typed up. We'll do that in Dolomite's voice, because Dolomite is the official voice of the god of the cult. The official visual is a transsexual Asian woman, but the voice is Dolomite. So if you can put those together in your head, that's what the cult god is. We call it the Burly Baphomet. It is a transsexual Asian woman with the voice of Dolomite. And I don't think there's a more perfect combination that exists. If there is,
well, technically it's a white woman with a giant Asian penis.
Oh, right, there it is. There it is. I knew it was Asian in there somewhere.
Well, with a black voice.
Yeah, it's a perfect. If you have any problem with any of it and you can't accept it for the whole, that means you're a dinosaur bigot and you're not part of our cult. So yeah, if anybody wants to get that cracking for us, we'd definitely be appreciative, and we're gonna get this thing put together. I think it needs to be read by famous white voices. That's the only way that the true history of the white man is ever going to be told with respect and dignity. That computer voice didn't do you guys any justice.
Dude, not even a little bit. And I'm just thinking of all of the great imagery. You get some of that, matched up with Midjourney.
Oh yeah.
And just reimagining the whole, and then retell it with these famous white voices. I think this could lead we're overdue for a new religion.
Yeah.
I think the last legit new religion was what, Scientology.
Yeah, we need a new shot.
I think we're ready.
I think white folks would watch this on Thanksgiving and laugh themselves into tears with their own family. I think this would replace A Christmas Story. You don't want to watch the kid get his Red Ryder BB gun anymore. Now let's watch the story. Like your granddaughter runs downstairs. Granddad, can we watch the story of Yakub as told by Patrick Stewart? Sure we can, honey. Let's just put that kettle corn in the oven. Let's get a fresh batch of cookies from Grandma, and let's turn it on. Let's watch it again for the 5th time. We're gonna watch it again. So, like I said, gift us a subscription to the AI voice pack. We need it. This is what we need. Donations. Well, we're very due.
Donations.
Dr. Umar's getting them.
Gifts.
That's all we need.
Gifts.
And then the best one?
More gifts.
I love it. Shameless, and I absolutely love them for it. This is the only way that you can get to it. You got to be shameless. You got to ask for it. So yeah, we here, and I think you've seen, and nobody's ever debated that we are the best think tank ever assembled. I don't think anybody disagrees. And if
like
you do,
show on Rumble,
you just haven't been listening long enough. So yeah, I'm gonna upload some clips to Rumble. I'm gonna cut this right in half. I'm gonna make sure everybody gets to watch Yakub separately. The Yakub conspiracy separately from the TrainChoking, because that was a little bit boring. There was not enough jokes in there, as we were cleverly told by our listeners. We appreciate you. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we get too deep into the minutia of trying to figure out what's going wrong with the simulation. And sometimes you just got to get back to the absurdity and laugh at all of this shit. That's all we have in our favor is the protection of our own peace, and we have our own experience, and that deserves to be as good as it can possibly be, as positive as it can possibly be. Don't get too lost in the news reports, because all they're going to do is make you crazy. They're going to make you nuts. It's going to make you angry at people you've never met. At least that's what the purpose of it is. So if you can take in all of the news, and you can take in all of these streams and all of these tweets, and not become a dinosaur bigot who hates any one of several groups that's handed to us on the platter, then you might just be a multi-dimensional genius. Because if you watch too much of it, with this human brain that we got, you're gonna slip and fall into one of these rabbit holes and be like, what the fuck's with all these trans people? Like, I promise it's not as bad as you think. Usually all you got to do is let people be, and they'll figure themselves out. Of course, protect yourself, protect your own peace, protect your family, your property, and all of that. But if they're not trying to get you particularly, it's probably not as bad as you think. It might just be the focal narrative and the way they put the magnifying glass on everything. We can't let them rope us into the crazy. That's my only advice is don't let them rope you into the crazy, because it's a lot of it out there. It's a lot of it out there, and if you're not careful, they will get you, bro. They will get you.
Happens to the best of us.
Absolutely, they got me. They made me hate a Middle Eastern man for no reason. For no reason, just because they were filtering, fucking Israeli beheading videos and shit like that, and all these terrorist shit and all of this garbage, man. It was unbelievable. And I'm watching it, my friend. I got this guy who's sending it to me. Oh shit, this is crazy. Look at this. And I'm like, what is this? You click it, it's somebody about to get their fucking head sawed off by a dude in a turban screaming Allahu Akbar. Next thing you know, I'm walking around downtown St. Pete. I see a Middle Eastern guy walk out of the store, and just hatred just flared up in me for no reason.
Yeah, I'm starting to hate homeless people.
That's fair. But I didn't know this guy. I didn't know what he was doing. I had never met the guy. Nothing like that. But when I saw him, all of the shit that was indexed in my head about these people, and it just involuntarily boiled up in me. And luckily, I have a sound enough mind and I didn't act on it. But it was scary, the way how fast it just welled up for no reason. But homeless people, do your thing. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I have no complaints. We appreciate you, W.R. Winter. He said, great show, guys. Multi-dimensional genius awaits. I definitely appreciate everybody listening. I appreciate you, brothers, for making time for this show, as usual. And I'm sure we'll be getting back into it here again soon. We got some other things coming in the pipeline for you.
Movie review.
That's what I was about to say. 60-second movie reviews. We're going to be putting those into some shorts and chopping those up for people's, extremely digestible pieces of content, which is what the algorithm gods demand from us. So we're going to kowtow just a little bit in order to extract the revenue from these sources. The faster we can extract the revenue, the faster we can buy our time back from our reptilian baby-eating overlords. We need it. We need it. We all do. So this is our part that we're doing. This is our contribution to the algorithm, and we appreciate y'all tapping in and listening. And I'm sure we'll have some more good stuff for y'all soon.
Peace.
So, yeah, man, I'm going to wrap it up. Much love to you, brothers. Much love to everybody for listening and commenting and being active. It definitely means a lot. We appreciate y'all, man. So, enjoy the rest of the evening, everyone. And we'll be talking to you again soon. Greatest think tank ever assembled. The Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen. And we out. Dola.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.